The toxicity coming from the Illuvium community in certain chats gets more overwhelming every single day, yet I still stand in front of my desk right here and discuss everything that excites me about the project. Now, I've been deeply engaged with Illuvium since late 2021, making all kinds of speculative price videos, news podcasts, and much, much more every single week since I began 3 years ago. And over that time, I have grown to over 7,000 subscribers. And although growth has significantly slowed down nowadays, I haven't stopped. And I don't plan on stopping, not in the near future at least. Every now and then, I do wonder why I dedicate so much time to this with very little tangible benefit to myself and with so much toxicity surrounding the project nowadays. Despite the undeniable grind of the Illuvium team. They're doing fantastic work, and sometimes a lot of that, I want to say FUD, just gets really, really annoying. Like, if you want to know why I do what I do and don't plan on stopping anytime soon, then let me break it down for you right now. And so that it's a bit more entertaining, I'm going to have some some gameplay playing in the background for you. So, the current day-to-day progress of the Illuvium project is actually really, really solid, okay? So one of the things that I really hated was Ascendant felt very unloved when it first came out all those years ago, where it was a fantastic game and I still really enjoy it to this day. I thought it was a really good take on TCG Auto Battler combo. However, just the team wasn't all that into it. They didn't update it very frequently. They weren't taking much care with trying to get the balance right because there were so many changes that were destined to come to the game that they felt like focusing on that was more important. And maybe that was the right decision, I don't know. But at the same time, I felt like they had a really good product there. And instead of trying to make it the best product it could be, they pivoted a little bit too soon. And that was quite frustrating. But right now, Gauntlet is better than ever, better than Ascendant ever was, unfortunately, although I do hope the TCG style comes back eventually. And Gauntlet is getting weekly updates nowadays, which is really, really nice. Now, the other thing is the balance in the game has never felt better. These weekly updates, like it would have done to Ascendant, eventually made the game really solid in terms of game balance, and the game has never been more of a pleasure to play. A lot of the features and overhauls that are coming will change this and the balance will get out of whack again, but once they rein it in, this will be a really solid game. That always excites me and is one of the reasons I keep doing this. Some future updates that are coming look really, really positive. The carousel, scouting, drone augments, region selection, and much, much more is coming to the game, and it will be a night and day difference when we finally get to play it. It has been really disappointing that it took this long. I mean, they've had the game in its current state without any major additional features for quite some time. I guess weapons were a pretty big overhaul to the game, but at the same time, we haven't gotten scouting despite wanting it for a long time. And I know that's due to some back-end things with like multiplayer servers and stuff like that, but it can certainly be frustrating. And I know it frustrates the people in the Discord, and sometimes they see me as a permabull or whatever. It frustrates the shit out of me. You guys don't understand how frustrated I am from not having spectator mode yet in particular. The other thing is I really can't wait for augments to be adjusted. I feel like they're overtuned a little bit where they kind of decide the outcome of the game, but their balance is way better than it was about 2 months ago, and the game is a lot more fun because of that, but I can't wait for them to all be adjusted with future updates, and I'm mostly excited for the MMO Lite. Like many of you, I really enjoy the Auto Battler, but ultimately, and I'll get to this later in the video, my Illuvium is my dream game for a few reasons, and none of them are Auto Battler related. They're all creature capture, adventure to a certain extent, but creature capture related, roguelike sort of stuff. I think could be really fun with the creature capture genre. I think Poke Rogue is a really good example of that. And the other big part of that is alluvial customization. This is even something you can't even do that much in a game like Pokemon, where in Pokemon, sure, they get different moves over time. You eventually customize their moveset, which is a pretty big deal, and level them up and IVs and all that sort of stuff. But I love the idea of skill trees, like a Pokemon that would, or an alluvial that would have a certain power level, and then you can do a split skill tree, kind of like in Path of Exile 2, where you increase its burn damage and maybe reduce its health or something like that. And then really customizing down the fundamentals of the alluvial. that really excites me for the future. Also, I really can't wait for the competitive scene to really grow and evolve, and thankfully, someone is working on helping exactly that. Lizard Labs is building the top infrastructure in all of crypto gaming. They have several blue chip NFT projects already, and the LARP suits now, which give you access to their launchpad that gives you access to new gaming projects earlier than anyone else in this space. Not to mention they are building an end-to-end gaming publisher with Project Sentience and organized wagering through Lizard League, all backed with the Liz token. You do not want to sleep on this team, and thanks again to Lizard Labs for sponsoring this video. Now, I enjoy making content about Illuvium, and this is something that a lot of people don't seem to realize for some reason. They are fun videos to make. I enjoy making those videos. I just do. I know that might be crazy to some. A lot of people don't like Illuvium, or some think it's boring or there's not much to talk about. I enjoy talking about it no matter what the topic is. And I really love diving into the data and stuff. Haven't had a whole lot of opportunity for that recently. But with Leviathan and stuff kicking off, I'm really excited to make those sorts of videos again. It's just not many people care about those videos unless they're revenue or token price related or whatever, right? And making content about Illuvium is a way I express myself. It helps me grow as a person, learn who I really am through my content. And I hope you guys are seeing that over time. I've actually lost something like 15 kilograms over the past year. So if you go back to a video of me for a year ago, you can see my face looks completely different. And I kind of really like having that record of myself growing as a person, the way I speak, the way I make content, the way I script out my content over time, and it really helps me improve in every other aspect of my life as well. So it really is a part of that personal journey for me, and like I said before, I just love talking about the game. The other thing is I still really love the Illuvium IP, and I don't think anyone, even the fudders, have any doubts that Illuvium has the best IP in all of crypto gaming, and one of the top IPs in, I mean, besides not having a storyline and quest that's readily available, one of the top IPs in all of gaming. Now, every creature in this game is just so detailed, and it's really, really awesome, and it's so easy to fall in love with any individual one of them. Now, the problem is they've got to kind of catch up to some of the other creature capturers. With Pokemon as the obvious example, they're up to over 1,000 creatures, which makes the Pokemon games even more exciting. Like, if you were coming new to the franchise, there'd be over 500, like, in each game. There's over like 500 Pokemon you can encounter throughout the game, mostly in the post game, but that's really cool, and I love that sort of stuff. Obviously, it's not for everyone. People want a limited roster sometimes, but I absolutely love that, and I'm looking forward to the creature designs of Illuvium's future as well. I think it's going to be a really big part of Illuvium moving forward after they've wrapped up all the MMO Lite and everything like that. And when I'm making content, when I'm getting involved with the Illuvium IP, when I'm making new videos and things, I always learn something new, and really, that's what I believe the meaning of life is. I think if you learn something new every single day, then you're growing and you're learning, and that's exciting to me. That's what drives me. I always love learning something new, and this year I've started focusing on improving my content and the content quality, including titles, thumbnails, and things like that. I definitely think you guys were not able to. You guys definitely had to click this video. I did a pretty good job with this title and thumbnail, I think. So, the other thing is, with new sets, it could genuinely rival Pokemon in creature design. Pokemon creatures have been a bit lackluster. There's usually about 20 or 30 bangers every generation, but at the same time, you can tell that a lot of people are really hunkering for that full AAA 3D style when it comes to this sort of stuff. Not everyone, but there's definitely a large audience that's keen on that, and I'm one of those people. I really want Pokemon to come into the 21st century, and Illuvium has always been that for me, and I still believe it can do that. And so that's why I really believe in the project, but also why I really love talking about it as well. And like, one of the things that does annoy me a little bit, well, not annoy, but rather makes me sad, is there's way less leaks now with Illuvium. It does make it way harder to make content, even with like general alpha things. Like, the team can say like, oh, the carousel's coming to Illuvium, but what are the specifics? Is there 8 people in the carousel? Does it work exactly the same as TFT? How are the augments going to kind of fit in with the carousel stuff? Getting all of that information makes it really fun to talk about it and speculate even further on it, but we just don't really get those sorts of leaks anymore. And the other thing is it is more exciting when a new update drops, but I really miss having so much information to talk about and so much to speculate on and get excited about. We really don't, it's really harder to do that nowadays. But I think Illuvium's turning that around a little bit. I think this new dev blog that Aaron's releasing is going to be really, really awesome. The other thing is the game will be more engaging with the MMO Lite gameplay, and it's still a ways out. I wish we would have had that game instead of the overworld we got. And that's a shame. Like, the team thought the overworld is a pack opener. It's like opening a pack of cards, but really they should have just done a pack opener. They realize that now, but really they should have just done that if that was the plan, and then left the game and overworld exploration and stuff to an actual gameplay loop. And it's a shame, but I'm really looking forward to the MMO Lite, and they've got a lot of the things in place. It all looks beautiful, looks great. It's going to run a lot better as well. I'm looking forward to all that. So, the other thing with Illuvium is it's still better than pretty much every crypto game that exists. If you're into the AAA style of game, at least. Obviously, there's a lot of casual games that are really great and really fun to play, probably more fun than Illuvium in many ways, but as for AAA quality graphics and all that sort of stuff, Illuvium's still pretty much the top dog. Off the Grid, Wilder World, and Shadowline are really the only other AAA titles I can think of that are remotely close in general quality. Obviously, Off the Grid has a much better gameplay loop. Wilder World racing is different genre entirely. Their world is stunning, and Shadowline has a really cool gameplay loop that I would actually really love Illuvium to leverage for their MMO Lite as well. Their roguelike shooter type thing is really sweet. So those games are great, and crypto gaming's matured a lot, but really, Illuvium is one of a very small handful of games that are good, and it's the one that fits me personally and my taste in gaming the best out of all of them, and it just really is that simple. The other thing is Illuvium's kinematics feel just as good as Off the Grid, and the visuals feel just as good as Wilder World. Not only that, but it's really just the gameplay that's lacking. It competes with any AAA game on general polish, besides all the crashes and bugs that Illuvium can fall to, and the lack of optimization that's plagued it a bit as well. But in terms of general AAA games, you're talking like Call of Duties and stuff, like it's not bad. It's got a lot of elements there. It's not perfect, and it's not like on the same level in terms of gameplay and stuff, but it's a good game. And so the other thing is that crypto gaming continues to mature, and a lot of people underestimate just how long it takes a studio to create a hit game. People in crypto are desperate for the next thing to happen straight away, and they don't understand that building a game is fucking hard. They go like, oh, GTA took 5 years, Illuvium's built 5 years. Yeah, GTA has like 5,000 people working on their games. Like, some of these comparisons are really annoying to me, but really all I'm saying is that it takes a long time to build a game properly. Illuvium underestimated that by all means. They thought it was going to happen a lot faster than it did. And they've realized that now, and that's fine. But it's just one of those things. And I was naive enough. I thought it was going to get developed way faster than it did, and it hasn't, and it sucks. But I'm in it now, and I enjoy talking about it. And so why not continue going until it reaches that point where I can't wait to play it every single day. And I'm not quite there yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. And so on that front, Illuvium is positioned well on the current time horizon. It's not falling behind any of these other games. I remember a time like 2 years ago, they're like, oh, what is that game? It was not Off the Grid, the other one, the really crap one. Oh, Shrapnel. They're like, oh, Shrapnel's catching up. Illuvium's falling behind. Shrapnel's going to surpass it, and just how much they've completed and stuff like that. And then they released the beta after Illuvium, and like pretty much no art assets were in the game. They did it the opposite way around. Shrapnel did all the gameplay elements first, and Illuvium did all the art first. I don't know what's better. Maybe Shrapnel had the better approach there, but at the same time, sometimes it seems like Illuvium's falling behind, but when you look at the progress of other games and other trailers and things like that, it really isn't, except for Off the Grid, which is obviously way ahead of the curve here. But again, they had a studio 3 times the size of everyone else, pretty much. And so it's a bit like that. It's really good to put it in perspective, and that's how I look at a lot of this stuff. The other one that I think matters to a lot of people is token price. Now, token price doesn't matter to me anymore. At the start, maybe it did a little bit. I guess RevDiz excited me for that very reason, but I have no idea what's going to happen with all that in the future. I've never cared that much about token price. I don't make videos because I want to make money with crypto. Obviously, I do. But my channel and my identity as a creator has always been about playing fun games that utilize blockchain technology in novel ways. I have no interest in playing a game and earning money from it. I think the competitive side of it's really cool, and I'll get into that a little bit later, but I have no interest in playing a video game and treating it like a second job. I already have a job. I want to play a game because I want to play a game, all right? I don't need a second job to play at home, but I know a lot of people are really into that, and that's really not what my content's been about. It's hard because the views are much higher on that sort of content. And so when I'm not making that, I'm getting much lower views and less engagement. And that makes it a bit harder to make content when your views are going down constantly over time. But it's just not who I am. Now, don't forget that I did invest 90% of my crypto into ILV at the time I really started my channel and stuff like that. And my portfolio still sits in a pretty similar zone. And I still think RevDiz has really great potential, but it will take much longer to fully realize than I initially expected. I'm still looking forward to that. I still think there's great potential there, but I have no idea when or if that's ever going to come. And that's just the reality of the situation. I think if Illuvium is successful, obviously RevDiz will do really big things. But we just got to see how the MMO light comes. If people come to crypto gaming, that's a big factor as well. Ultimately, a lot of this is really out of Illuvium's hands in a certain sense. But as long as they keep grinding and trying to build good games, I think it'll be all right. But it's just one of those things. So yeah, I'm not really that big into talking about that sort of stuff on the channel because yeah, this channel is all about me playing games. I enjoy playing games. I talking about games, talking about projects, and building alongside Illuvium, and that's exciting. The other thing is, like I was saying before, competitive scenes themselves really benefit from crypto. One of the best use cases I've found in recent times for blockchain technology is things like entry fees for tournaments. I try to think back on my favorite gaming moments, and when I was playing Hearthstone a lot, I got to legend rank pretty much every season. It was a lot of fun. I don't understand why people say TCG is a high strategy. They're really not that hard. Like once you kind of understand every game, generally speaking, there's like a best move you can make. And so getting to legend, I never had much trouble with, but that wasn't really the fun part. I started joining tournaments where you had like a small entry fee, conquest format and stuff like that, and trying to win some prize money from the tournaments. But because this doesn't really have a global market, because certain payment rails are probably disallowed in certain countries and regions, and using a US service, and then there's tax implications and stuff like that. But crypto seamlessly integrates all of this. And so I think gaming and crypto really works well with competitive and esports in a certain sense, where esports was only dedicated to all those who can compete at the highest level and go to the world's tournaments and things like that. But now I think crypto and blockchain can open it up so that anyone can compete in a competitive scene for a crypto game, because it's all set up on the blockchain. So it's really easy to verify, really easy to set up platforms, APIs and things like that. And that excites me for any crypto game, not just Illuvium, but that just excites me so much. So the other thing is all video games can benefit from the blockchain. So I still believe in blockchain technology in gaming. I always have, always will. And I'm really excited for that future. And that's one of the reasons I really love making content on this channel. I still believe in NFTs and token economies. I don't think token economies should be centered around earning money, but I believe in using cryptocurrency as in-game currency. It makes perfect sense. And it's a natural progression for video games in general. I don't think earning will be the final state of gaming, not in a different way to World of Warcraft at least, but scarcity and finding rare items acquired through genuine gameplay and competition will be the core earning mechanic for these games for those that are still interested in earning. That's just my prediction for the future of play to earn gaming. I think it's going to be all about rare items. I think Big Time did this pretty well. I know some people that made some pretty good money on that, but really it was from just finding rare stuff that other people wanted to buy. And even Illuvium's kind of similar. The rare stats, I think that is the one way that this all works. But the more you reward skilled gameplay will be really cool. The problem is bots become a bit of a problem, but bots are in World of Warcraft and lots of people still make money on World of Warcraft. And so really everything just kind of works okay at scale. It just is that way. So in the end, Illuvium is still my dream game. Ever since I was young, 3D Pokemon was a grand dream of mine. I always wanted them to make a game like that. And maybe Pokemon eventually will, and it'll make life harder for Illuvium, that's for sure. But it's clear at this time that Nintendo really has no interest in doing this. Not a full, proper AAA experience, at least. Illuvium has the best creature capture graphics ever created for a video game. And you can also utilize your owned assets in multiple games of varying genres. It is the natural progression for IP and the natural progression for creature capturer titles. Pokemon has Mystery Dungeon. They've already done all this. They've just never interoperably connected all the Pokemon. They did with Pokemon Go, Pokemon Home, and things like that, but I don't know. It just doesn't feel the same because everything gets devalued and the community can't build alongside them because Nintendo couldn't give a shit about what the community thinks. They haven't for the past 20 years, I'll tell you that much. But Illuvium's building differently and they care about this stuff, and I think that's really, really important. Sometimes we forget that building in public has its problems. You get all this toxicity because people aren't happy with what the devs are doing and they can directly talk to them. But at the same time, building in public gives us a lot of amazing things as well. And control over what happens to our assets, I want to say, because every game has assets. They're just not all on the blockchain. Control over what the development team is doing to the game and how they're moving forward with everything is a really powerful tool. And you guys should, I think it's worth respecting that. And I love making content about Illuvium. I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. I hope you learned something today, and please check out my other video on why I am so bullish on Illuvium, even to this day.